10 driver IM on each side for $170. Hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and this is my review for Bgvp Ns10, and this is their latest product. First of all, thank you for Bgvp for providing me with this review unit. And just like I said, they are using 10 drivers for each piece, for exactly 2 dynamic driver and 8 balance armatures for $170. But yeah, driver count doesn't reflect in sound quality, and just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison, and let's see how do they perform. Build quality wise, I think they're pretty solid. It's all made of metal for the housing. It's fairly chunky, but it's all feels really smooth and in high quality. Just for some information, that you could change the filter here, the nozzle. It's really easy. You can see that there's a little bit of grill here, so you just turn in counterclockwise to take it off, and you can see just like this. And you can change them with some filters or with different color code from the packaging that will tune a little bit different for the sound. And then they are using MMCX connector here, and the cable itself is quite good in quality. But the thing I need to show you is definitely this jack. This is a really huge jack, but it's not for nothing. I mean, just take a look at this. So it is an interchangeable jack. It's really easy to take it off, and you get also 2.5 or 4.4 millimeter balance jack aside from this 3.5 millimeter single-ended. So it's really nice. Well, ergonomics wise, I should say that I really have no problem with them, even though they are a bit chunky in size, they're a bit bulky, but in terms of fit, they actually fit really fine in my ears, and I have no complaint for using them for hours. Even though the frequency response shows that this IM is mild V-shaped-ish, but it's clear to me that I perceive this Bgvp Ns10 to be a V-shape, because when I'm hearing especially EDMs and such songs, it will show that this IM packs a good depth of punch and also a lot of treble sparkle. Now, before going more about the sound, I need to tell you the difference between the filters here. That actually doesn't really change a lot in the sound overall performance of this IM. Just like the frequency response shows that it's only tweaking minor things, especially in the treble area, and I just gonna recommend you to try the red one because it is the safest choice among the 3. For me, the other 2, the golden and also silver filter, to be more strident in the treble area. The bass is what I call to be a good kind of bass with good texture. So like I said before, in terms of emphasized, for me, it's not really super emphasized to the point that this is a bass head IM, but I can't help that I do feel that the decay, it has a really noticeable decay, so it's not a really fast kind of bass. It has noticeable decay, and also that you can feel that bounciness texture coming from this dynamic driver, that in some songs it feels natural, and also it feels like it's a good quality driver. But for some fast music, for some rock or metal music, I find that the decay is just too much, so it's not a fast driver in terms of that bass decay. But other than that, for me, hearing pops and EDMs, I never feel that it's too much or lacking. It just feels that in some genre, the decay is just a little bit too much. But I wouldn't say that this is overall a bad bass. It's just okay for me. Now, going to the mid-range, actually this is a really well balanced mid-range, at least for my perspective for this kind of sound. I mean, I hear a lot of music, I hear a lot of genre. I hear J-pop, K-pop, and also music, male vocals like Il Divo, Josh Groban. I hear a lot of music, and for me, I never find them lacking or too much in some upper mid or lower mid-range balancing that makes this IM over thin on over thick in some vocals. I feel that actually the balancing of the vocal area of the mid-range is quite good. Even when I hear guitars and also piano, I feel that this IM could give a really good tonal balance between upper mid-range and lower mid-range, but it just, in terms of positioning, it's just a little bit behind that bass, especially when you hear that bass decay that somehow giving you more sensation of emphasized bass. I feel that the vocal just stepped a little back in the positioning of the whole presentation of the music. Now, the treble is maybe the thing that I would put as the strange one in this IM, because for a lot of music, actually, I don't really notice something strange. It's a little bit sparkle, but it's just fine. It's not overly emphasized or anything like that. It's not really extended either. It's just an okay-ish treble. But in some songs, especially when I'm using the other filters here, it could be perceived as somehow more strident comparing to the, I feel that the bass is somehow giving this warm-ish kind of color to the overall presentation. You get that decay and that thickness coming from that from that bass, and also the mid-range is well balanced. So aside from the treble area, I feel that this IM is almost a warm IM, but the treble sparkle could be kind of strident out of nowhere. That makes this IM a little bit disconnected from the transition from the mid-range to treble area. That, yeah, for me, it's not as cohesive as the bass to mid-range. I feel that the treble is somehow could be problematic when I'm hearing some music with a lot of treble sparkle. Just for example, Ed Sheeran's Put It All On Me, you hear a lot of in that treble area, and that's quite annoying for me to hear that the treble is really strident, especially in that kind of music. But other than that, for me, when the music is not as aggressive in the treble area, I find that the treble is just okay. But yeah, just like I said, in some songs, I feel that the treble could be out of place a little bit. That makes the presentation is not as cohesive as I'd like them to be. On the technical part, it's also not disappointing, but it's a little bit disappointing when you're considering that 10 driver. I mean, at $170, I don't feel that this IM is not good enough in terms of technicality. But when you're considering that 10 driver, I mean, when I'm hearing 10 driver from an IM, I feel that I'm expecting a lot of good layering and also separation, but I don't really get that here actually. So yeah, it's just okay for the performance at the $170. You still get that kind of separation. You get that feel that the bass is handling the woofer area and the mid-range is different, even though the bass is quite rumbling, but the vocal is still balanced on its side, and you get that extra treble, so you get that layers still, but it's not as layered as I imagine from a 10 driver IM, but it's still good. It's still in a good area. And also the imaging and soundstage, for me, it's good also. I feel when I'm hearing some soundtracks from the Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I feel that I could imagine when reminding me when I'm in the theater and I'm experiencing those kind of music. I think that's a quite good performance in terms of technicality. Now at the $180 and below, I don't think that there's a lot of choice for me for IM. I think the only IM that I could compare it with is the amazing Shure S12 that I consider to be a really good planar IM. Now, comparing these two, I could feel that definitely the Shure S12 is the more aggressive sounding one. It is the more V-shape. I hear more sub-bass rumble and also upper mid-range forwardness. In terms of cohesiveness, because it's only using a single planar driver, I feel that the overall sound, overall tonality is more cohesive. It's not as detached, it's not as more disconnected than this Bgvp Ns10, especially in the treble area. I found even though it's more aggressive, but it is more cohesive in overall sound signature. And the technicality is on par actually. I feel that the imaging and also the separation is a little bit better on the Bgvp Ns10 if you really take your time and really listen to the music. But when you hear it at the first place, it's definitely more resolving in this Shure S12 because it has more impacts and also more resolution, especially when it comes to speed and impact, and overall that treble performance is just giving you more clarity sensation. It simply feels that the resolution is better on the S12, but it's just you get better layer, I feel, from the Bgvp Ns10. But if you ask me, actually I feel that the Ns10 is a little bit more balanced in overall tonality, but I do like the more cohesiveness and also more better timbre overall from the Shure S12, even though it's not as natural as I'd like to be. So in the end, do I like this Bgvp Ns10 and do I recommend it? For me, yes, it is still decent performing IM, especially when you're considering you got good bass, you got really well balanced mid-range. It's just the treble area that could be annoying, and that is only on some songs, on some tracks only. I don't really hear that annoying treble in a lot of tracks. It's only for some strident treble in some music. But other than that, for me, this is a decent performing IM. It's not as, the resolution won't be as in front of you like the Shure S12 here. But for me, if you like this kind of performance, you like still well balanced and also energetic, bassy, and also a little bit sparkle on the treble area, I feel that this IM is a decent performing. And also, strangely say, I have reviewed some Bgvp, and this Bgvp Ns10 is definitely the best that I've ever heard from the Bgvp, especially also when it comes to the accessories. Overall, it's still a good IM, but I wouldn't say this is a class leading. If you ask me personally, I would say that if you want to save a little bit more, buying Timeless on a $20, around $20 more price point, I feel that it's a more safer choice. But nevertheless, yeah, again, this is still a good product. I would consider this to be a good product. So this is my final score on the tonality, and also this is my technical ranking. And here's the overall final rank score for this IM. Overall, this is quite good. But just like usual, this rank will be changed, depends on the advancement of technology, or simply change the benchmark, or simply I just change some criteria there. If you want to take a look at my other ranking IM list, you could just check on the link in the down below in the description. I think that's all I could say about this IM. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.